Raise your hand if you've been ever called basic in your life. Now raise your hand if you've ever called somebody or something basic in your life. Now, when I say basic, I do not mean substances that have a pH greater than a 7. I do not mean forming an essential foundation or a fundamental starting point either. I mean the modern basic, the Gen Z basic. According to Urban Dictionary, someone who is basic is a total follower, a person that cannot make their own decisions or think for themselves. There is nothing standout about this person, as they like whatever is cool and mainstream at the time, be it fashion, music, TV, shows. A basic person most likely wears leggings as pants, likes keeping up with the Kardashians, and Real Housewives. The word basic first became prominent in the early 2010s. While it was first used to target white, blonde American women who wore floral patterns and took pictures with their Starbucks cups, it has now evolved into something different entirely. Its target demographic now being Generation Z, us, predominantly teenagers ranging from 13 to 19 years of age, now being targeted for more specific and niche things. I took a BuzzFeed quiz recently, and it told me that I was 40% basic, because I wear scrunchies like Taylor Swift and take group Polaroid pictures. But I really failed to understand what the word basic really implied. Something about this word never really sat well with me. It just sounded to me as though something that was basic was popular. And popularity stems from what a majority of people like. And people like things that bring them joy and wonder and happiness. So then, why did basic have such a negative connotation to it? Why was it used as a derogatory term or something that's said to make someone feel bad about themselves as individuals? It just never made sense to me. So if we all like to drink iced coffee and listen to Taylor Swift and wear mom jeans, it's something to be ashamed of, something we need to change. Bands, books, trends are only cool as long as only a selected few number of people like them, as long as they're in this secret little exclusive bubble. The moment in time too many people start knowing of its existence and taking joy in it, it loses its charm. It's no longer cool, and it's no longer something people want, right? It's like when you like a band, before that one song of theirs completely goes viral on TikTok, and you tell all your friends, oh, I knew this band before they were popular. I knew this band before this one song of theirs became a hit. You, at that moment in time, you have like a higher ground, if I say so myself, above your friends. Because this band was special to you before it was to anybody else. And there's some sort of comfort and solace in that fact. It took me a while to realize that being basic just meant being similar to one another. It was these invisible lines that were used to group us all together into these homogenous boxes, to make it seem uninteresting and boring, to put us into boxes and say, this is all you are. Your interests and likes and habits are what makes you you, and they're not much. It took me a while longer to realize how gendered it all was. Because when I was 10, I was convinced that I was not like other girls. And there's something so icky about that. Society is always trying its level hardest to make all women seem the same. To put us into these boxes, to put us in this definition of what we ought to be like. And it's as though we're constantly trying to break our way out of that box, out of that definition. Trying to prove both to ourselves and to society that we're more than that. We have more to offer. We're different. We're not like them. We're not like other girls. Caught in this constant frenzy of trying to prove our worth and people please and get validations, it's as though we're competing, as though we're fighting against each other, all for the grand prize of pleasing the male gaze. of proving our worth and constantly challenging social norms, of being one of the guys and not like one of the girls. In middle school, I had short hair because I knew that it meant I was different from all the other girls in my class. When others started getting short hair too, I started listening to metal music. I listened to AC/DC and I thought so very highly of myself. I refrained from wearing clothes that were considered too girly, from liking the color pink, from talking about topics that were considered too feminine. I tried to fit into this vision of femininity that I thought was socially acceptable. In other words, feminine, but not too much, not too little. Just the perfect amount. Just enough. I pretend to like football. I still do not know what the rules are. I pretend to like video games when all I really enjoyed was cooking mama. All for the sake of being different and unique, and not like other girls, and not basic. Being labeled as basic was my biggest fear. It wasn't as much as I was ashamed of being feminine, more so that I was aware that I should be, that I should strive to be different and better. It was this constant pressure that I felt from the patriarchy that kept me in a loop of reinventing myself, of never being the same twice, of constantly having a new look or interest or style, of always pleasing and entertaining and surprising and not being mundane or not being forgotten. Because after all, there were so many others I had to be in constant competition with. So I had to be remembered. I had to be different. But the fear of being basic all comes down to the fear of being average, of being the same. Nobody wants to have the same music taste as each other, or the same haircut, or pair of jeans, or favorite color, or anything for that matter. We're afraid of being each other, of being the same cookie-cutter replica. This constant pressure of being different and original is yet another trick society has had up its sleeves for decades. The first thing we have to write in a college application is why we're different and better and just have so much more to offer than the thousands of other applicants next to us. The very reason I'm standing here in front of you right now is because I too went through a very similar process while applying to UWC. My opinions, views, my attitude, they all had to offer something unique, something different. And I guess that's pretty much the answer. The blueprint of society is to be different. To get jobs, scholarships, friends, real estate. Everything is constantly telling us and reassuring us that differences are what makes us. Individuality, am I right? I have reinvented myself so many times. The hair I have, I've had 3 different hairstyles, all in the span of the last 6 months. The music I listen to, the clothes I wear, the way I talk, the way I walk, the stories I choose to share with other people, it just all feels so intentionally different, so manufactured. It's because I too have convinced myself, much like everyone else, that I need to be different. I need to have more to offer than the person standing next to me. I need to be funnier, wittier, more charming, more intelligent. And so now what we're left with is a generation of kids all just constantly trying to one-up each other. Constantly in the fear of being boring and basic, of being left behind and forgotten about. Because difference, once again, is what's best, right? It's our differences that make us. But I beg to differ. Why is it that we always highlight the differences we have when it's our similarities that make us human? There's a quote by Lord Alfred Tennyson that goes, "I am part of all that I have met." And that quote has always felt so very dear to me, because I indeed am. It's in the way I'm a culmination of all the people I have met, of all the people I love, all the characters from books and TV shows who inspire me, all the strangers on streets who are kind enough to stop and flash a smile. It's in the way I write my E's a certain way because the teacher I had in primary school always taught me to do so. It's in the way I save my favorite part of a meal for the end because I've always seen a best friend of mine do it ever since we were young. It's in the way I move my hands when I talk because I'd always seen my father do it ever since I was a young child. It's in the way I used to absolutely despise the Rabindrasangit music my mother would listen to every morning. But now that I'm so far away from her, I voluntarily listen to every morning. It's in the way all my favorite things to wear would be clothes I'd see my sister wear and want to wear as well. It's in the way I code switch when talking to different groups of friends, my words having a different lilt to it every time. It's in the way I'm wearing my grandfather's coat, my best friend's pants, my mother's ring at this very instant. It's in the way I can be all of these different things simultaneously in the same moment of time, embody all of these different, unique individuals, but still be myself, a being. So, who are we really, if not the habits, experiences, and various little fragments of each other? I like to call it a puzzle. How we collect pieces and little bits of everyone we meet and love and hate and admire and envy. And slowly but surely, these pieces start to construct who we are as individuals until we're complete. Until the last piece falls into place and we're just a huge, big puzzle. Our mannerisms, how we eat our eggs in the morning, how we were taught to diet dye, our handwriting, whether milk or cereal comes first, the books we enjoy reading. In one way or another, in their own special way, each of these things are influenced by the people present in our lives, by the individuals present in our life, whether we know it or not, whether voluntarily or by pure chance. But does it ever end really? There will always be a new piece to be added. It's never really complete. As individuals, we continue to prosper and grow and acquire new habits from new friends, new knowledge from new places. It never stops. It's an endless process. And so, at the end of the day, if being like other people is to be basic, aren't we all exactly that? Are we not all slightly different variations of each other? Don't we all carry each other in our hearts? Don't we carry on the psyche of the people we love with us? And isn't there something so very beautiful in that? It's in the way I'm like my mother, my father, my sister. It's in the way I'm like Mansha or Izzy or Juan or Zahra or Matthew. It's in the way I'm like you, or you. It's in the way I'm simultaneously like all of you, but also me. And so I ask a general question today. Why be afraid of being similar when it entails something as beautiful as that? Why be afraid of being basic when basic is the default? In one way or another, we're all basic. And so the next time someone calls you basic, smile, say thank you, and take it as a compliment. Thank you very much.